Maryland's Missing and the Murdered is a weekly YouTube channel that covers the topic of missing and or murdered individuals from the state of Maryland. If you like this channel, please like and subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified when the next cases are released. Martha Stewart Woods was born in 1929 and was married to Harry Woods, who was in the Army. With her husband being in the Army and moving a lot, Martha developed a mental disorder called Munchausen by proxy. Her main symptom of it was wanting attention so she could be seen by others as a loving caregiver. Martha Woods' crimes occurred between 1946 and 1969. Her pattern was being alone with a child and then rushing the unconscious child to the hospital. These attacks would be of them not being able to breathe. The child would have more attacks of not breathing within hours or days after the child was sent home from the hospital. 9 children left in her care had a total of 27 respiratory attacks, with 7 children dying. The first 6 deaths were listed as natural, but they had signs of strangulation or smothering. John Wise was Martha's nephew. He was 3 years old at the time when he died in 1946. He had diphtheria with 3 other children in the house, but he was the only child who died. Charles Stewart was a natural-born son of Martha's, who was born prematurely. At 1 month old, he stopped breathing. He was taken to the hospital and released after 2 days. After discharge from the hospital, Charles Stewart died within hours. Mary Huston was Martha's second natural-born child. She was born prematurely in 1950 and died 1 month later after being discharged from the hospital. Carol Huston was Martha's third natural-born child, born in 1952. She died 3 months later. Lilly Stewart was Martha's niece, who died in 1958 at the age of 1. Her parents awoke to find her in Martha's arms, making gurgling sounds. Eddie Thomas was a child of Martha's neighbor. He was 1 year old. Martha was babysitting him as the mom went to the hospital to visit her husband. Eddie had trouble breathing, and Martha took him to the hospital. He was released the same day. Interestingly, his mom noticed a bruise on his neck when Eddie came home from the hospital. He survived. 1 year old Marlan Rash was the son of Martha's friend. He was under Martha's care, babysitting him for the last 5 months of his life. He had 3 respiratory attacks while under Martha's care, eventually killing him in 1964. By 1969, the Woods were living on Aberdeen Proving Ground in Aberdeen, Maryland. The Woods adopted their son Paul in August 1969 when he was 7 months old. He died a month later when Martha took him to Johns Hopkins Hospital after a respiratory attack. Medical personnel at the time couldn't put the pieces of the puzzle together due to the fact that the family kept moving so often. This was until the Woods adopted their daughter Judy. By the age of 2 years old, Judy had 6+ episodes of these respiratory attacks. She was hospitalized for 6 days in December 1967 and had attacks in March 1968, February 1969, and March 1969. In September 1969, Judy was admitted for one of these attacks, and a doctor by the name of Dr. Kerr, who knew about the death of Paul Woods a month earlier, felt something was very wrong. Judy was taken from the Woods family, and she never had another respiratory attack again. Dr. Kerr began his own investigation into Martha Woods and turned his findings into the authorities. Authorities looked into all the children she had taken care of and filed charges against Martha for the death of Paul. Because the crime against Paul happened on federal property, her trial was to be held in federal court. Psychiatrists examined Martha and determined she was fit to stand trial. Martha was found guilty of first-degree murder of Paul Woods. She had also been indicted and went to trial for the attempted murder of Judy Woods, but she was acquitted of those charges. Martha Woods was sentenced to life imprisonment on July 24, 1972. Martha Woods died in prison on April 20, 2002, and her husband Harry believed in her innocence until the very end. Thank you for joining me this week. If there's a Marlan's Missing or Murder case you'd like to see on this channel, email me at marlansmissing@gmail.com. Twitter is Marlan's M&M. Music is by Silent Vengeance. Sources will be listed in the outro. I'll see you again next week. Be kind to one another. You never know what will happen tomorrow.